I'm renting Rip City off a half a fifth of whiskey. I like to get faded, push it way past tipsy. And Monday through Thursday, you can catch me getting hydrated. But come the weekend, my mind is discombobulated. Speech slurred, vision blurred, walking around like I'm the leader.
What's up, ladies and gents? It's Idaho Dub with another Throwback Thursday video. I am playing a little NBA Jam, not the original NBA Jam, because that came out a while ago. But I am playing the most, I think it's the most recent NBA Jam. I think it came out in like 2010, 2011 maybe. My buddy has it, and so I just borrowed it from him. I was like, dude, I'm doing this Throwback Thursday series. This is kind of a throwback. It's a few years old, but it brings me back to the original NBA Jam back in the day. You played at an arcade, and I talked previously about arcade games before, but there wasn't really an arcade in my small town in Idaho where I grew up at. But I was on a ski team, and at the ski hill, they had a small little arcade in like one of these pizza joints. So we'd spend a lot of our afternoons there, like when we were off the hill waiting for the people, the adults, to take us back down the hill or somebody to come pick us up. So I would play that 720 skateboarding game, NBA Jam, and another game was Area 51. And I think I still see Area 51. I think that was like a really popular arcade game. Those were like the three popular games that everybody wanted to play. I was really into the 720 and NBA Jam. So much fun, man. You get the big heads, try to get like the codes before the game so you guys would have big heads. And it's just ridiculous. You could get on fire. It was a fun game. This one's fun, but I don't know. I don't know. I was just I wasn't used to it. I only played a couple games, but I'm playing as the Trailblazers if you didn't know, because I live in Portland. It's playoff basketball time. I'm playing on not easy mode, but like one step above it, so it shouldn't be too difficult for me. So yeah, it's playoff time, man. Trailblazers in the playoffs. I'm gonna try to playoffs. Every time I say that word, I have to do that. But I didn't go to one game this year, and I try to go to like a game a year. I'm not the biggest basketball fan. I think I told you guys that, but the playoffs are coming up, so maybe that'll be my one game this year. I'm sure tickets will be super cheap. But I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on the NBA playoffs. Let me know who you think is gonna win down below. I don't pay enough attention to it to really know, but I have a good feeling that Miami or Indiana probably. I pay enough attention. Okay, one could say that I know enough about other sports and basketball primarily. I know a little bit about it. But enough of that, man. It's Throwback Thursday. That means we got to throw it back. And all these videos, I've been thinking of stuff. I just kind of think of stuff that I could talk about during these videos. And it just like last time I put up one of these videos, it was the Nike adjustable straps. Like stuff like that just pops into your head. You forget so much of your childhood, I feel like, unless it was recently, or if you're still a child. But I feel like you just forget so many things, and it'll be interesting to see like 20 years down the road, like what my nephews are going to say, or if I ever have children. I don't know if that's a good thing, 2 dubs running around the world. But it'll be interesting to see like what my nephews, I think of. I'm like, man, like what's really cool to them right now? Because, like those straps were cool back in the day, and like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I remember. I feel like those, like I was kind of on the tail end of the Rock'em Sock'em stuff, but stuff like that. It's gonna be interesting to see like, will the kids nowadays be like, oh man, dude, remember when I had that iPad? Those were so cool. Like while we're floating in space on some sort of like space, motorcycle. It'll be interesting to see if we look back in time and laugh at the iPad, because we used to laugh at. I mean, now I'm not used to. I'm laughing now at like the hard disks, like floppy disks. Like you would actually put a disk in a computer and save it to it. Now we just throw it on a flash drive. Even burning stuff onto a CD is weird now. Like in my car. And this is a great segue because I'm going to talk about vehicles. But in my car, I don't even use my CD player. I have 2 options. I can either there's a CD player in there, but I have no use for it because I'm not going to lug around I have the CD case. It's actually sitting right here. I'm looking at it. It's in my room. After I sold my last car and bought my 2014 Scion TC, or 2013, sorry, I bought it last year. But after I bought it, I pulled my CDs out because I was like, I don't need to lug this thing around and flip through like 400 pages. I got like 300 CDs in this book. I'm like, what am I going to do with these? So I have 2 options in my car. I can either, one, put every song I own on a flash drive and plug it into the USB port in my car, or my phone just Bluetooth syncs. I have an iPhone, and it just automatically plays as soon as I get in the car. In fact, my buddy, I let my buddy drive. So I don't know, for whatever reason, my buddy had my car, and so he came and picked me up. And when he picked me up, I was like standing outside. It picked up my cell phone signal from like 50 feet away, or maybe even further, and started playing the song. So it's pretty amazing. Like, those are my two options. I just pretty much play all my music through my phone, unless I'm going on a road trip. Then I throw stuff on a flash drive because it just holds way more data than my phone does. So it's pretty amazing, man. I went on a rant there, but it's going to be crazy to see what we look back on in 10 years, because technology changes so fast, and be like, look at us. We were such clowns for using that. Oh, people watched YouTube. Why? Now I just have the media, drilled straight, like, transported straight to my brain. I don't have to watch anything. I know it. I know it all. It's like the Matrix. Oh, man, we're advancing too fast. But I want to talk about cars. Speaking of cars, one of my favorite pastimes is thinking about, not really, I guess it's not pastime, but, when I think of like vehicles, and I guess really anything, goaltending, that's cheating. But when I think about anything really, I guess there's certain stuff I think about that, opens up like this whole door of other memories and feelings. And vehicles is one of those. And I've had, let's see here, 5 vehicles in my entire life. And my very first vehicle was actually a vehicle that I had loved for a very, very long time. We had a family friend who had this 1986 Toyota truck. And I knew him. He was quite a bit older than me. But, I used to feed cows as a child. If you didn't know that, now you know. And it was for his dad. So I was with him a lot in this truck. And he bought a CD player and put it in there. And he had like this cool stereo system. And he got this cool paint job. And I was like, this is the most awesome truck ever, And this was in the late 90s when I was doing all this. And then, I got into high school in the 2000s. And he was just like, he had graduated high school, and probably like, he was probably like 6 or 7 years older than me. And so, he still had his truck, and he was kind of around the town. He was going to school not far away, like an hour or so away. Anyways, my parents ended up buying the truck when I was a freshman in high school, and they were using it to like kind of haul some stuff around for, whatever, yard work and stuff like that. And then that was actually ended up being my very first truck. And it was awesome. I loved that vehicle. And it was old, and it did have a ton of miles, and it ended up costing me a lot of money because it had a lot of problems. But I loved that thing, man. It was like, when I went on my first date was in that car. Like, it was just a single cab, so you could hardly fit anybody in there. It was like 3 people max. I mean, you're pushing it to the limit. There's really only room for 2 people, but I loved it. I put so much money and love and care into that vehicle. It was ridiculous. It was just crazy. But that's like the vehicle I learned how to drive in, and I got into, a ton of mischief in, lots of, dates and stuff in that vehicle. It brings back all of these memories, and no other car will ever do that. After that, I had another truck towards the end of my senior year, and then when I moved to Portland, I've had a car ever since, because it's just, 1, not economical to have some huge truck, and 2, I don't need it. Like, I just need a small car, especially if I'm like driving downtown. I don't want the Toyota wasn't big, don't get me wrong, it was small, but there will never be a vehicle that will, I'll associate as many memories with. And it's funny how certain stuff, sometimes you go back to certain things to try and recreate these memories or have feelings that you had before, and you just can't duplicate it. And it's kind of fun to think back on it, because I'll never be in love, I guess you will, with a vehicle again like that. And there will never be anything that will recreate all those feelings that I had at that time in my life. I was a teenager, so I was going through a ton of stuff. 1, puberty. 2, women. 3, school. Like, I was just like, everything was like a new exciting world. I could drive. I was getting a little more freedom from the parents, and it was just an exciting time. And I would say to cherish all those moments. Cherish all of them. Maybe there's something like that you guys can relate to. Maybe it's a vehicle, maybe it's something else, but there's definitely stuff that we all can relate to in life that we did at one point that brings back fond memories of our childhood, or just fond memories, maybe not the childhood. But that's going to do it, man. 55-37, Portland over Minnesota. Hopefully that's the score. Well, hopefully it's not the score this weekend, but hopefully Portland gets the W. Whew. Oh, man, I kind of rambled on there. I thought this video was going to be too long. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.